And now for the Greek of Acts 21:17 through 26. So Paul now arrives in Jerusalem. He's now finishing the end of his third missionary journey. Verse 17. And us, having come to Jerusalem. Okay, so this is a genitive absolute, a pronoun in the genitive and a participle in the genitive. This is genomai, but it's gen, so it's aorist. Men are passive or middle participles. So this is, but it's deponent, genomai. So it's aorist, middle deponent, participle, genitive, masculine, plural. And us, having arrived in Jerusalem, the brothers received us warmly, asmenos, warmly. Apodexanta is aorist because we have a C is the key to hidden sigma. Hidden sigma alpha is aorist. This ending is middle ending. So we have a, we have a middle ending. So it's aorist, middle, indicative, third plural, from apodecomai, I believe it is. They received, the brothers received us warmly, verse 18. And on the morrow, on the being morrow, I think this might be a participle, but I just, it's on the next day. Paul went in, this is ace hitami. He was going in, so this is probably imperfect. Paul was going in with us to James, and all the elders arrived. So this is paragenomai, deponent. Again, it's aorist. There's the augment, third person plural. Aorist, middle deponent, indicative, third plural. And all the elders arrived, verse 19. And having greeted them, sigma alpha is aorist. This is a spadzomai, so it's deponent word. Men are passive participles or middle. So this is an aorist middle deponent. It's not aorist passive in form because then it would have a theta eta. So it's aorist middle deponent participle, nominative masculine singular from a spadzomai. And having greeted them, he began to tell. So this would be a inceptive imperfect because you can feel that he began to tell. He was beginning to tell according to each one of the things. This is exegetomai. Actually, it could be present because the word actually has a an eta in it, exegemai. So he begins to tell. Could be. Actually, I still like imperfect. And to, actually, the to ending indicates imperfect. Amenu to. So it is. It's imperfect. Imperfect middle deponent indicative from exegemai. He began to tell according to each one of the things that God did, aorist of poieo, sen. We haven't seen sen in a while, but it's a third person singular, aorist active indicative ending. Of the things that God began to do among the Gentiles through the ministry of him, through Paul's ministry, verse 20. And they, in front of de or men, it can mean they, the article, and they, having heard, sigma alpha is aorist, ont is active participle, aorist active participle, nominative masculine plural, and having heard, they were glorifying God, imperfect of doxazo, and they said to him, aping an aorist, what did they say to him? Direct discourse, quote, you see, brother, this is vocative. You see, brother, how many thousands there are among the Jews of those who have believed. This is perfect because it got a little beside itself. Perfect active because the kappa. It's a participle. In the perfect participle, we don't have my aunt is an active participle. The new doesn't show up for whatever reason. So it's my aunt is an active participle, which makes no sense at all. So this is a perfect active participle, genitive masculine plural, of those who have believed and still believe. And all of those are huparkusim. They are all zealots of the law. So they're pretty nationalistic, I would say, in Jerusalem. They see no contradiction between Jewish nationalists and being believers in Jesus. They have a hard time with separating their love of their nation from their love of God. That, of course, has never happened since. Just kidding. Verse 21. And they have heard concerning you. Theta 8 is aorist passive. So this is aorist passive indicative. Son is a third person plural ending in this case. The sigma alpha is not part of the tense here. The sigma is not part of the tense here. The son is an ending. Theta eta is the tense suffix. Aorist passive indicative, third plural from katekeo, catechism. They've been told, they've been taught. They have been told concerning you that you are teaching apostasy from Moses with relation to all the Jews among the Gentiles. Ooh, you're in trouble, Paul. Saying not for them, subject of an infinitive is an accusative case, not for them to circumcise the children, their children, not other people's children. No, don't do that. Only your own children. Peritemno is present tense here, present active infinitive. Nor to walk, present active infinitive, in the customs. This is not, for a second I thought this was Gentiles, but Gentiles has a new there, and there's no new here. Nor to walk in the customs of Moses, in other words. Verse 22, what therefore is? What are we going to do? Surely, Pontos, they will hear, future tense, because there's a sigma, future middle indicative, third plural. Surely they themselves will hear, I'll do an intensive middle there, that you have come. This is the perfect of erkomai, alelutha. It's irregular. You just have to memorize it. Second person singular. So it's perfect active indicative third singular from erkomai. Verse 23, therefore this do. This is an aorist active imperative, as is, where's another one? There's another one here. Do this. Well, okay, we'll get to it down here. Dapane san and pay. So san, the second person singular imperative endings go like this. Lu e, lu, lu, san, lu, si, lu, the, ti. So this is the second person singular. Sorry for those in Britain. The second person singular aorist active imperative of poieo. Do this. Blah. No time in the imperative. It's a kind of action thing. Just do it. Simple action. Do this, which we say to you. Relative pronoun. It's neuter because this is neuter. They are with us. Men four. There are four men with us. Having a vow, a euchain. They have a vow from themselves. So they've taken a vow. Verse 24. Having taken these, be purified with them. So it looks like Paul is going to finish. I waffled a little in the podcast, but it's pretty clear here. Paul is, we now join this vow in progress. They've started the vow already. Paul's going to join. Be purified. Aorist passive because the theti. In the song I just sang of second person singular imperatives, lu e, lu, lu, san, lu, si, lu, theti. So this is aorist passive imperative, second person singular from hagnidzo. So be purified with them and pay for them. This is the san imperative, second person singular imperative, aorist active imperative, second singular. Dapaneo, and pay for them in order that they might be shaved with regard to the head. Aorist of reference, or accusative of reference, I guess. Future, because the sigma, they will be shaved. They shall be shaved. No, that's not how it goes. This is middle, I guess, future middle. The word is, what word is this? This word is xurao, so it's not deponent or anything. So the future middle, they themselves might be shaved with regard to the head. Okay, so it's future middle indicative, third plural, from xerao. And all will know. This is the future of gnosko. It's irregular. There's the sigma, though, indicating it's future. Future, gnosomai, I think, is the future. So gnosko is normal in the present, but the future stem is deponent. All will know that of the things that they have heard concerning you, it's nothing. So this is katekeo again. It looks like it might be perfect here. Looks like the ending has been shoved right on the stem. So there's not a lot to indicate it's perfect because the word has a eta in its present form. And therefore, when it's augmented, it still looks the same. And when it's reduplicated, it still looks the same. So the only real clue that we have perfect is the context and the fact that it's not anti. It would crash. You would have a and an would crash to form oo if it was present. So it must be perfect, middle or passive. Concerning the things that they themselves, let's go with middle, have heard concerning you that they're nothing. But you are walking also yourself. When autos is in the nominative, it intensifies the subject. The subject is you. So it's you also yourself are walking, guarding the law, keeping the law, present participle. Verse 25. And concerning the Gentiles who have believed, again, perfect active participle, genitive masculine plural, or neuter plural, because ethnos is neuter. We have sent, having judged, so this is the aorist of apostello, internal lengthening, down to 1 lambda, alpha. We ourselves have sent, having judged, aorist participle, for them to keep both the meat offered to idol and blood and strangled and sexual immorality. Stay away from those things. I talk about that in the podcast very briefly. 26. Then Paul, having taken the men on the next day, with them, having been purified, he went into the temple. Okay. Again, I guess this is imperfect, although I'd have to look at the form just to be entirely sure what it is. Yes, this is imperfect. Okay, I was right. I'm always right, of course. I'm never wrong. Just kidding. This is aorist passive participle. Theta epsilon indicates that. Hagnidzo again. Having been purified, he was going into the temple, completing the fulfillment of the days of purification until that which the offering was brought on behalf of each one of them. Sacrifice. They're still sacrificing in the temple. Talk about that a little in the podcast. Well, I believe that concludes our Greek for the day. 2 more days in Acts chapter 21.